a sense of community when you're free. Rolling through the mountains, rolling through the valley, rolling through paradise with me.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the show. And speaking of welcoming back, I'm so happy to have with me author Glenda Toews. Sorry, I almost said tongue for some reason. Although she's not here to talk about the book, but I just want to mention, if you haven't read Spinning on a Barstool, it's a book that the ending is just so shockingly surprising. So you have to read it. I just think it's just tremendous, you know.
Please read it.
So anyway, what have you been doing since you were here?
Since I was here last, I guess, when was that about? In the fall, October.
Oh, was it? Was it?
It's just a couple months.
Yeah, okay.
So since then, I think, well, at Corky's, we did all of November, we did Tip Tuesday. So Tip Tuesday, I donated all of my tips that I earned to the Chilliwack Secondary School,
okay,
as well as Cyrus Center.
Mm-hmm.
So because I had done it last year as well, November, and I had got very busy. So Tina, who's my colleague, co-worker there, had volunteered her day off to come and help me for a couple hours, because you can't really ask other servers to volunteer, donate their tips. So it was sort of, well, we need help, but it would be awkward. So anyways, she's like, I'll just come in and help you. So she donated her day off, came in and helped. We raised about almost $2,800.
Very nice.
Yeah, it was a little less than last year, but we also had one less Tuesday. Last year we had 5 Tuesdays, okay, and this one we did 4 Tuesdays. And the Cyrus Center, I was talking with Tammy there, they are using those funds specifically to purchase Christmas gifts for the youth they work with. And the secondary school, my liaison there, has already purchased $1,000 worth of gift cards for food hampers they do for some of the needier families in there. She bought some hoodies. She bought some gloves and mitts to put in. They have a closet at the school that they have. They go, some of the teachers even before had gone use their own funds, would look for sale price items at Walmart, that kind of thing. Fill it up with gym things like gym shoes, gym strip. They bought toiletries. Last year they bought toiletries, and they did the stockings for the students that are in need. The secondary school is in a sort of precarious position. They have extremely wealthy families that go there and the extremely poor families that go there, and some of the stories are quite heartbreaking. So it's nice to be able to give these funds that they can just use at their discretion when they run into situations that they can help.
Nice. Well, how did you get involved in the beginning?
Okay, so when we were researching Foundation of Hope, and that you can find in the Spinning of the Barstool, all of that history is in there. I had been serving a group of teachers once a week for a number of years, and they never would go into details of anything that goes on at the school. And I found out later that they can't, it's a privacy issue. But they would come in more tired and more with these looks on their faces. And one time I'm like, what's going on with you guys? You're like, oh, like drained. And they're like, oh, so many children that that have so many problems and not enough hours in the day to help. So when we were discussing the creation of the Foundation of Hope, it was said in order to prevent homelessness, the idea was to go to the teachers to hear what's missing. Why are students, because if you can prevent homelessness, if you can stop homelessness at that, then as adults, it will decrease our homeless situation. And so the idea or the thought was, instead of responding to homelessness, let's work to make it not happen to begin with. So the idea was to go to the teachers. What are we missing? Let's fund that. Let's fund these. It didn't turn out as we expected, but in the investigation process, that's when we found out some of the needs that our immediate. And some of the stories are, kind of heartbreaking.
You know, as you're talking, I'm thinking that they're so amazing because there's Project AIM, which I don't know about that. Project AIM, they provide like sanitary napkins or you know, if you're incontinent, all those things for free for people in need, right?
Yeah.
Then there's a Chilliwack Free Store, and there's so many.
And they have the backpack, the lunch backpack. But when I was researching for the Foundation of Hope, I found a lot of programs in Chilliwack that were responding to these needs. The one thing that they didn't have is free cash to immediately help something. One of the stories last year that my liaison had told me was, and while there was shoe stories in the foundation, or sorry, in Spinning of the Barstool book, this again was a shoe situation where a student came in, there was no shoes his size in the shoe closet or the closet at the school. So she was able to use those funds to go to Sport Check and to purchase his size. So that's what those funds were, that immediate, we need to do that for them. And so
there's always those little areas where somebody falls through the cracks. Right?
Exactly. So she was using the funds for let's do that. And so and then I guess this year with COVID and with the after effects of COVID, those who were suffering before and during suffer even more now. So they see quite a bit of it there.
And it's getting worse, I think, only because the cost of everything is increased so much. Like I went to the grocery store. I live alone, and you know, when you live alone, it's kind of harder in a way to buy fresh vegetables and stuff. You know,
you can't buy large portions. It will go bad.
Yeah, exactly. But I spent $60. I'm thinking, what the heck did I buy that was $60?
I remember $80 used to do me 2 weeks of food for my husband and I. $80 for 2 weeks. That would be
not anymore. You know,
no, so I just dropped that at Purdy's.
But that's a need.
That's a need for some of us.
She brought me this, people.
That was not $80.
That's all right. I'm just letting potential guests. The person know.
Bring Nancy chocolate. Bring Nancy chocolate. I just found out she was a chocolate freak. I didn't know that. I just thought everyone could.
And you know, the irony is I'm allergic, but it doesn't stop me from eating.
What? You're allergic to chocolate?
Well, I get itchy and my ears, you know, and everything.
It's a good thing I bought you the small box then. The big box would have killed you.
That's not, well, you know, I'm waiting for the mayor. He owes me a box of chocolates. Oh. Yeah, he said so on camera.
Did he?
Yes.
Okay, well, get to it, Ken.
Anyway, so sorry, we're off the topic, of course, you know, but so what else have you been doing?
Not really much, just sort of, we were working on that, and then I guess just working on Christmas and that kind of thing, but, you know, writing short stories.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, a few short stories, not a lot. The editor who had worked with me on Spinning on the Barstool had encouraged me not to stop writing.
Right, yeah.
So I'm like, I don't have another book in me. Like, yeah, I mean, I might. I've got some customers that do weird things. So anyways, she's like, just don't stop writing. I'm like, well, what do I do? So then I found the short story sort of avenue. So I throw them on my website and throw them on Readsy and stuff like that.
Oh, we enter contests and stuff, because that's always very encouraging.
Well, I think did one contest once. Readsy, it's a British thing, so you can submit every single week, and it is a contest, but it's I was shortlisted on one of my stories. I think the winner gets $200
but it's not even about that, right? It's just getting that feedback, that really good feedback.
The feedback. Like I actually submitted one this week, but then I was like, no, it's not ready yet. So I took it off. I'm like, no, it's not ready.
Like years ago, I wrote a children's book, and I entered in a contest. I didn't win, but the feedback was so
good.
Nice.
So
made me feel so good. Yeah,
you know, encouraging.
I haven't written anything else, but but anyway.
Yeah. So and then working on when you write a book, you have to sell the book. Yeah. And so lots of advertising, and I'm learning my website. I'm like learning how to make reels and videos and
Oh, God.
Yeah, it really kind of hurts my head. I mean, I'm happy to learn these things, but boy, when I'm not getting something, and my daughters help me a lot. They both are tech savvy on the online stuff. But they're busy with their families, right? I'm like, help me. They're like, too busy.
Oh, I know about the help thing, you know. People suggest certain things, no, for editing from it. I said, no, I don't edit.
I can't. Yeah.
Forget it.
Yeah.
I'm not editing.
Yeah.
No, I've got a program I use and I'm sticking to it.
Yeah.
And
well, because it even takes so much time.
Yeah, it does.
Right?
Yeah,
because you will have your video and you're like, oh, and then you cut something, and you're like, oh, now I have to fix that. You know? So yeah, I understand.
Yeah, and just when I'm when I'm taping away from here, I'll use my tablet. And the process for that is once that let's just say I'm taping this, then I have to upload it to my drive.
Right.
Then from that, email it to myself, to my desktop, then upload it to this program called Kazoa, finish it there, and then download it to my...
So much easier just to come here then, right?
Well, part of that process still takes place, but not as complicated.
Okay.
Doing it this way, you know, a little bit more straightforward, right?
Yeah.
You know, but you have to do something because for this, like in order to put your name in that, I can't just do it like this and send it off. You want your name in there, your title, whatever, you know. So it's a learning process.
And you have to learn these. You have to learn these things. Like my sister, she's like, I don't see your book on TikTok, and I said, I'm too busy to learn how to do TikTok. Well, 2 weeks ago, or 3 weeks ago, I finally started TikTok. So I've got TikTok and Instagram and Facebook, my Facebook author page and my website and blah 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 blah. So I'm like, oh my goodness, it's like a second job that doesn't pay so well.
There you go. Yeah. And you know, I mean, I've learned some things. I do LinkedIn and Tumblr and Twitter, which is now X.
Yeah. Weird that it is. I actually also have an X account, but I don't use that so much.
Right. I put all of my interviews in all of those places.
Oh, good.
Plus, like I have three on Facebook, different Facebook pages, so they'll go up in there as well, you know. I don't have a lot of. Well, I got to put it out because on YouTube I don't have a lot of subscribers. Okay. But I have quite a number of followers on Facebook. Right. So every can, you know.
And then they just direct them to your YouTube.
Yeah. But people look at the numbers. This is what I'm going to say to you. People sometimes look at the numbers and they don't want to be involved if your numbers are not high.
Is that interesting?
And I think, well, how can you get the numbers high if you don't want to get involved?
Right.
You know?
Right.
It's that catch-22 thing, right?
It is. And then, because it's exactly the same as what I'm facing now. Like on my author Facebook page, they're like, some people have like 40,000 followers. I'm like,
yeah.
I have 700. I think that's great because I have 700 in 6 months. I'm like, oh, that's
tremendous.
Right? That is.
I've been doing this for 7 years and I've got 200 and some.
Get with it. Subscribe.
But I decided for myself anyway not to worry about numbers. I do this because I enjoy doing it.
I think that's exactly it. It was the same when we were talking with reviews for the book. And I talked with a lot of other authors on my Glenda Toews author Facebook. There's a lot of authors there. They get very frustrated when people read the book. They enjoy the book, but no reviews come back. Like on Amazon, if they purchased through Amazon or Indigo Chapters or Barnes and Noble or even Goodreads. There's a place that people who enjoy reading, Goodreads or NetGalley. And reviews are very important on Amazon, particularly because it bumps your if you're number 1, then they see you right away when it's opened up. If you're 5,000, you're and there's so many books. So, and I also was getting frustrated. I'm like, oh, because you want the feedback, but also, that feedback is helpful, like for the future sales of the book. And so, I just put a question out there to the other authors for their thoughts on that. And it was kind of interesting. And there was one author in particular, she says, you don't expect anything in return. Readers read books. Why should we demand they do something for it? I'm like, you know what? She's right. It's like a gift. It's like, here's your gift. Here, read it. Or here's a gift. Why would you expect somebody do something with what you've given them. And I'm like, no, she's right. So I changed my attitude on that. I'm changing my attitude all the time.
And sometimes it's too fast. Like I like to shop on Amazon for different things. So I'll buy something and it's arrived, and the next day I get an email, customer wants a review. Well, you haven't used it yet.
Oh,
you know, like you're being too quick, sort of.
I didn't even know all the things that Amazon that I buy. I didn't get those emails. No.
Oh, you're a lucky
girl. Yeah.
But it's all through Amazon.
Could you imagine? Hi, here's your book. They want a review the next day. You haven't even read it.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh well. Yeah.
So those I delete because I'm thinking you're coming at me too quickly. I don't have a chance, you know.
Yeah.
And you can't say that in the review.
No.
Because they won't accept that. Like Amazon says your review has to say certain things, you know, like you can't say, well, I don't like this product. No, sorry, no. You can't say, you can say that. You can't say things like, well, I haven't even used it yet.
Oh, okay, because that's not really a review. Yeah. That's like,
you definitely can say whether you like it or not.
I did, because I'm like, no, somebody gave me a 1-star review on spinning on a Barstool, and I didn't mind that. Like at first it was kind of like, but I mean, fair enough. It's reading is subjective, stories are subjective, art is subjective, music subjective, food is subjective. So it's definitely not going to be for everyone. She liked the cover, so that was cool. She's like, that's all it had, though. I'm like, okay, fair enough. If that's what I actually reviewed her review. It made me feel better. I actually sat and like I read her review. I'm like, you know what? Sometimes my life is a 0-star, so it's okay for you to review my life as a 1-star. That's okay.
I get names mixed up, and one of my I posted an interview, and somebody said, well, you should, as an interviewer, you should learn people's names, and I said, you have no idea how I practice ahead of time, but I get something in my head and it's gone.
Gone. You know what? That's okay. I think that's what makes it better, is because it's not polished. It's real. And why? And that was kind of interesting. Why do we only want to show real? I had actually did a TikTok video on that because I was like, oh, I can't make a video. My hair's not done. My makeup's not on. And I'm like, this is stupid. Why are we so afraid to just make a video if we want to make a video?
Absolutely. Right? Yeah. We have to get over that thinking that we have to do certain things.
I know.
That's for other people.
I think it's better the way you're doing it.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
It's real. Don't edit because it's real, right?
But I have learned certain things. I've learned to take my landline off. Off the hook.
So it doesn't ring?
Yes, and the same with the intercom. That's gone off in the middle of an interview. And you can't just sit here because somebody will ring again.
Right.
You know? So it's kind of interesting, but at the same time, people on the other end, like when I do a Zoom interview where somebody else is not here, I've had people where their cat jumped down their lap and love that.
When the cat jumps on their lap?
Any of that
stuff. Know, I had done... in November also, I had done a writing workshop with an author teacher in the States, and it was all done on Zoom, and so we had our Zoom links and everything. Now I paid almost 400 Canadian to take this, and it was very relaxed and casual. He had a lot of people on there, and it was all muted. Nobody was speaking. We were just learning.
Right.
But his children were interrupting him, and I'm like, I don't mind casual, but I'm paying for your time.
That's a different thing,
right?
Totally different thing. Absolutely.
So, I mean, it probably would have been fine if it was free. I would have been more forgiving.
Yeah.
But I was like, okay, you should have probably arranged that. It was a little not. And then I felt like it was a bit of a money grab then.
Yeah, because that was a professional thing, or should have been done professionally.
I wouldn't do another one. I learned I wouldn't do another one. I learned a couple of things, but
Oh, you mean I can't charge that? I can't charge people chocolate. Because my videos aren't professional.
Damn.
So what are your goals for let's say 2024?
Do I have any goals for 2024? I actually don't make resolutions.
Oh, you don't? Okay.
I don't because
But it doesn't have to be a serious thing.
It would be nice. I actually would like to design the last and final design for our house, and I would actually love to break ground.
Oh, wouldn't that be awesome?
Yeah. Whether will that happen or not, I hope so.
Because it's been a long time coming, right?
It's been a long time, and I was just thinking we're putting up our little tree this weekend. I was like, oh, it's a smaller trailer.
My tree is up on my wall.
Oh, see, that's a good idea.
I painted a tree.
I don't have a wall. I have like
that's right. You don't have a wall.
Well, my husband wouldn't let that go in front of the TV. So that wouldn't work. You know, so it's just things that are, and you know what, I'm looking forward to Christmas. Our friends are coming up, John and Trish. They're actually in the book as well. It's cute. So they're coming up, and we're going to deep fry turkey. We're going to have fire. Deep fried turkey. Okay. We're going to have a fire. Because we have a gazebo that covers a fire pit, and I bought another tent. We'll set it up and just have a turkey dinner outside.
Right. Have you ever done turkey that way?
No.
Before?
So it's a, have you had a deep fried turkey?
Never.
No, I've never had one before. So I'm kind of looking forward to it. I think I might buy some chicken thighs and put them in the fridge just in case it doesn't work out, right? And then we'll have something more than just mashed potatoes.
But that sounds fun. Yeah, it's fun to try something you haven't tried before. Take the chance, and what's the worst that can happen, right?
Well, not eat turkey if it is either raw or burnt.
You know, for sure. Yeah.
But so we're really looking forward to that, that kind of thing. The house hopefully in 2024, that would be, even just to start, would be great. Other than that, no big. I was in Germany in the summertime, so I probably won't do another Germany trip this year to see my children. Let's see.
Yeah, I can't remember now. Why did your children go to Germany? What was that?
So my oldest daughter, after her dad died, was really sad. And she started she moved to Vancouver, started getting into drugs and junk like that. And then she's like, I'm still not happy. It's not making me happy.
Yeah.
And then she's like, oh, maybe if I go help people, I'll be happy. So she ended up just signing up for it's like a youth with the mission, but not youth with the mission. So it was Christian based, but she did it independently, not with a church or anything like that. So she went to Israel, and then she worked with women and children in Ramallah. And then she happened to meet a German guy, and they fell in love, and they got married, and they moved to Germany. Then my younger daughter, who's 6 years younger, when she graduated, my older daughter's like, hey, why don't you come here to Germany and hang out with us? So she went out to Germany, and she met a German guy. Boom, boom.
She's married.
Now she's married in Germany. So.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting that they're both there, right?
They like the culture. Well, my older daughter has since, she had moved. They move all over the place every couple of years. They were in Kiev just before the war broke out in Ukraine. They moved about 8 months prior to that. And then now they're in Austria. So they've been in Austria for about 2 years.
Okay.
So and Taylor, my younger daughter, has just always stayed in Germany. She's more of a little homebody there.
My bonus son lives in Austria.
You have a bonus son?
Well, when I married his dad.
Oh, okay.
I have a bonus son and a bonus daughter.
Really good way of putting that. I always call it a steps, but that's way better.
I thought, I remember at one point he didn't like that. My bonus son didn't like the word stepson, and I thought about that. And then there was a show on Netflix, and it was called Bonus Family. And that was what it was intermarriage, not intermarriage, but went through marriage.
More positive.
Yeah, yeah. So now great. So I got a bonus son, a bonus daughter, and they each have their child. So
you have bonus grandkids,
right?
Super. Yeah, that's amazing.
And that sounds better than I got married. I not only
then feel better too. Like the bonus.
Yeah, and I had 2 bonus cats and a bonus dog.
Oh my goodness. Oh dear.
But it's just the way if we rethink things a little bit, like I don't know if I make cupcakes now. I make cupcakes once a week for the Tillamook Free Store.
Okay.
And I started a cupcake festival 2 years ago, and I want to continue doing that. And I thought there's a lot of hate going around. Can I counter hate with cupcakes? How can you hate when you're in the middle of eating a cupcake?
You can't. But that's actually kind of an amazing thing that you just brought up there. And I had touched on that a number of weeks ago. I had read, there's so many things mathematically that goes on in the world. And I find it always interesting when you have like a Pareto distribution, when pi of a workforce are the ones that do half the amount of work, and the other rest of them do the other half. So it's all across the board where your Salesforce 3.14. So if you've got 10, 3.14 do half the work and the other 7 do the other half.
Right.
It's like a mathematical phenomenon, but also was this mathematical also phenomenon that the good that you do comes back 6 times, or it is multiplied 6 times in 6 good things.
Right.
So your cupcakes in exchange, or you're counteracting the not nice in the world with cupcakes, will multiply 6 times to the good. Equally, if you do bad, it multiplies 6 times to the bad.
Mm.
When you really think about when you're making a choice whether you want to respond to something good or poorly, well or poor, and like, okay, that's going to be multiplied 6 times. The good is a good thing. It's like, yeah, but man, if I make a bad decision and that's multiplied 6 times to the negative, like it kind of makes you stop and go, maybe I don't want to respond that way.
That's right. I told this to my daughter. If you do good things, you feel good. First of all, you feel good, period.
Does,
and then that has that ripple effect, which is really, really nice.
Yes.
So, I'm hoping, to get the city itself involved. Like last time the mayor comes on the show, like on kind of on a regular basis. And I was saying I would like the city to get involved in this cupcake festival. We made 2,000 last year. This year.
You made it, or just people that you know?
The people that we volunteered, a bunch of us, a group of us volunteered. I had somebody who did the actual baking.
Right.
We rented Evergreen. A friend of mine rented Evergreen Kitchen.
Right.
Because it's got 2 great big stoves with each oven holds 6 of the cupcake trays.
Oh,
right?
Good.
Good. So the first year we made 800 cupcakes, and this last year we made 2,000.
And you're just giving them away.
Oh yeah. And that's the fun of it. That is the people are shocked.
Well, they're like, really? You don't want anything? You're just giving me cupcakes?
Exactly. Now I've decided if they want to pay, make a donation, we'll not accept that. But no, you're not obligated to it. You have to smile. Yeah. That's the only
all you have to do,
right?
Just smile.
But I thought, what if I could get the city somehow to be involved, and Chilliwack would be like, I want to put it this way. How do I word it so that Chilliwack, think about this, Mayor. We would be the first city to start something. It's just a simple thing.
Very simple.
Right? Yeah. And then I like, even for the free store, I want to continue to do this. It was supposed to be temporary, but I want to continue. How can I get bulk supplies? That's another thing. I have no business.
Right.
I don't want to start a business. I don't want to sell.
Right.
Put that on Facebook. All of a sudden, 2 businesses have offered to get me the supplies. Like, I'll pay for them.
Right.
But they'll buy bulk.
They'll buy bulk.
It is so tremendous.
So my daughter, she does a lot of online events. You know how people used to actually go to seminars?
Yes.
Now they do seminars online. So she arranges a bunch of these seminars. But she was doing this podcast with this fellow, and they were talking to business people who were extremely successful. And they were trying to zero in on all the things they did to make themselves successful. Do you know what it ended up being? That across the board, whether you're the high up, like high tech, friendships.
Is that right?
Friendships. It was not in all the advertising they would do. It's not in all of anything that they did. It was their connections with their friends. And it wasn't, your Facebook friends. Yeah. It was I'm going out having a beer with you, friend. I'm going to go have coffee with you. I'm going to bake with you. Those friends. Oh. That is what created these businesses to be ultra successful. So I thought that was fascinating. Yeah. I'm like, you know what? Maybe we're barking up the wrong tree. Maybe we need to pay more attention to the inner core of our friendship.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Wow. That is so cool.
I know. It is very cool.
I don't know how we got talking about all this stuff. All over the place. Yeah, but that's the beauty of sometimes, like when somebody, like I some of the things I want it to be like when the interviews, I don't want it to be an interview per se. You have a conversation, so it can go anywhere. It doesn't usually go bad.
Well, that's good.
Sometimes there's been some sadness involved, depending on the person. You bring up something that makes them very, very sad, and then that makes me feel sad that that I asked a question that brought them there. But this is the beauty of doing it, and the magic to me, like the magic is people just willing to sit here and talk.
Yeah.
right? About
Yeah.
whatever they
Yeah.
want to talk about.
Right.
It's just beautiful.
But you're good. You ask good questions.
Well, thanks. I
Right?
appreciate that.
So that's how your conversations, you know.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
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 So I don't know what else to ask. Talk about asking good questions. I really don't know what else to ask.
Well, how long do you have to fill your space for?
Yeah, no, interviews go anywhere from 15 to minutes to half hour. I don't really have a set time.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure, you can ask me anything.
What's your most memorable interview you had? The person that you had, your most memorable, and why was it memorable?
Oh my gosh.
Because you've done a number of them.
Yeah, you know, there's a couple of them, but it's like I made a friend. He lives in New Zealand. An interview friend, like an online friend. His name is Ryan Neville. He's a musician. He's been on the show a couple of times and then come on again. And it's just one of those connections on Zoom.
Okay.
You know.
Okay. I'll have to go back and look at some of your YouTube.
Yeah, Arthur Green. He was one of my fairly new interviews. Way early on, he came. It was an in-person interview,
And
right?
why was he?
Well, he was the first person who brought me chocolate.
Oh. Yeah, it wasn't even me. No, it wasn't Curtis.
And it was Curtis. And I must have said something on Facebook and he remembered, and it's like things like that are so fun.
I had no clue, so I just brought them.
Well,
I did no homework.
I could go on again. Gerald Charlie, a blues performer. He's First Nations, a local. Well, not in Chilliwack, over by. I forget the name. All of a sudden, I've forgotten the name of the reserve. Sorry, Gerald. He can't perform anymore because he's been very bad arthritis and stuff. But he's did like he came here, and I think did he come twice? My memory fails, but he invited me to a healing ceremony, and it was beautiful. Right. Oh, like I think those with like European descent have no idea what it's like. No, they what happened is everybody who was involved in the and went to the schools, to the my God, my brain's gone. Residential school, thank you, or maybe part of the 60s group was brought up to the center of the room. There were chairs for them, so each got to sit in a chair. They each got a blanket, and they were each wrapped around the blanket. And the drums started. I love drums. The drums started, the singing started, the dancers, and all the time this is going on. There's a man there, and he's talking. Okay, they're healing not only themselves but the youth. Right. Because we bring our trauma forward, right? Yeah. Yeah. At the end of that blanket over on the couch there, he gave me his blanket. It changed me so, I can't tell you what it did for me. Every time I think about it, it makes me want to cry. You know? Well, it's touching. It's when people are generous with their time or with their belongings, with special items. It has that ability just to reach down and just give your soul a kiss. Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. You know, and I had to do something for him. It was just a silly thing. And I did a painting of I don't know how to call it. It's kind of a swan-like bird, but it's all in different shades of blue, and I called it Blue Gerald. I took it to him. Well, I've got out the band office, you know, and I thought he'd get a kick out of it, you know, because he's having some health issues, you know, but he's just a wonderful person. And I could go on. There's so many people that I had and still have a nice connection. People that come on over and over again. What made you desire to want to do these podcasts with just your local, I mean, really, with just your local community people you pick up along the way? Come sit in my chair. Well, after my husband passed, Shaw had a cable station at that time, Cable 4, and they were looking for volunteers. So I decided in my head to volunteer. In my back of my mind, I wanted a talk show. What happens is people's stories are so fascinating. They really are. Yeah, and they don't always think that themselves, right? But what made you decide to go this direction and not that direction? You know, I'm a person who didn't go to anything directly. Right. I'm not slow. I'm a late bloomer. Right. Everything came later on. You know, 50s, 60s is when I started doing things. But because of that curiosity about why did they choose that? Sometimes it just falls into their lap. Right. Some people know from day one. Right. For back as long as they can remember that this is what they're going to do. Musicians, like I've interviewed a lot of musicians, and they just feel that that's what they're meant to do.
Born that way.
Born that way.
Born that way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's the same with writers. And
right.
And here's another thing. So many people are multi-talented. That's another thing. It's like, I'm floored by it all.
How do you get to have all that talent in one little body, and then the rest of us go,
Yeah, exactly. Like my friend, he lives in New York. He's going to be back on the show soon. He sings, he plays guitar, he makes these leather products.
Nice.
He's an artist.
Do you think it's because of the art mind?
I think so.
And then you need to have this creative outlet. Like, I can imagine, like with your painting, that there will be days you don't feel like it, but then you probably have days where it's got to come out of you.
Absolutely.
Right. Okay.
Absolutely.
So that's probably the same with them. It's the same with when I write. It's like, if it's my husband will I put my headphones on. It's got to come out. I don't know what's going to come out, but something's got to come out.
Yeah.
And interestingly, when you speak of it being just born in them, my older daughter, Danielle, I remember when she was like 7, we went to Vancouver. She wanted to be a star. She's like, oh, here. So I'm like, okay, let's go visit a talent agent in Vancouver. We went. The talent agent was asking her all kinds of questions, and she was a very outgoing child. The talent agent says, and do you sing? And I'm behind my daughter, and I'm going, because I like very nasally, and she in front of me, she's, yes. I'm like, no. Well, go figure. The kid is 14 years old. She goes, Mom, if you drive me to voice lessons here at the Chilliwack Academy of Music, and we lived in Yarrow at the time, and we didn't have a lot of money, so the drive was a huge thing for us. She goes, if you drive me, I will, if I pay for my own music lessons, would you drive me? I said, if you're willing to invest in yourself for that, I will. Turns out she was nearly pitch perfect. Turns out she studied opera. That one when you're talking a why, well, she was on the way to singing in opera houses. She won bursaries and contests like crazy. And I would that's your voice? Because it developed into this amazing opera voice. She then didn't care for the lifestyle of what the opera life was like, and she chose to get married. And so now she sings to her babies. So it's just fascinating, but it's like, I often think back at that day where she's nodding yes. And I'm like, did you know from that day on that you had that voice inside of you? Because she got rid of the nasal, that was trained out of her, that nasal thing, and you just sings opera. Go figure.
Go figure. Yeah. You know, when my son, I can't remember how old he was, but we were visiting, there was a family reunion for his side of the family and my ex's side of the family. And he was, my son was playing on the piano, and he's just a little guy. And the person there, that was his auntie had used to be a music teacher. And she said, you know, I think he's actually picking out, rather than just little kids just pounding. She said, I think he's picking up, you know, actually trying to figure out notes. So later on, he wanted to learn to play the organ. He's a little bit older now, and the teacher told me that he plays by ear, but not to let him do that because he wants to learn to read the notes or whatever like that. Now, one of his hobbies, now he's in China still. One of his hobbies, he builds his own synthesizers. And he creates these sounds, and there's events where he can go to where the like-minded people do that, you know. He writes his own music, and it's like not, you know, like a synthesizer. It's just different sounds, right? But it's cool. There's people that dance to it. There's like, you know.
So if that's hereditary, because you were just talking about how much you loved drums. Now I can imagine that the synthesizer beat
could be. I don't know, I never thought of that.
Right, and then you like the drums, and you like drums too, so maybe there's just something with the rhythm in all of us.
My daughter loves the drums too. She had a set. I don't know what happened to them, but well, she's still got some of it left. But you live in an apartment, you can't practice. You have to get there at the practice pads, and it's not quite the same as listening. You know,
the real thing.
Well, when I had my house, I had an attic, a full size attic, and she had the drums up there. And my husband and I, we just loved it when she'd come over and practice,
because she would just go and
and my neighbors would hear it and they enjoyed it. You know, right? It was so much fun.
The rhythm. But so maybe that's just.
I hope she gets back.
Hereditary.
I don't know. It's hard to say. Honestly,
is it nature or nurture?
No, yeah, nobody in my family ever played drums.
Huh.
Not that I'm aware of.
Were they musical?
Well, my brother played, one of my brothers, a couple of them played the guitar. One of my younger brother was in a band at one time, you know, when he's a younger person, right? Yeah. So that's about as musical as I got.
Well, that's right. Pretty good, actually, if you're playing guitar.
Yeah. But it's just, it's also, but anyway, I guess the reason why I do this is because people are just totally interesting and fascinating, and the magic is how you can connect with people, and I learned to love that so much.
It is very cool. Yes. And I love the fact that you recognize that absolutely every single person has a story, right? And that they have something to speak about, to offer other people a different perspective, or yes. Or knowledge that they didn't know before, because we can't know all the things. So I can't. Yeah.
This woman I know, she wrote a book. I've got a copy, but no, that's not up there. She wrote a book, and it's again, everything's gone blank, but she talks about bringing that trauma forward. So that's where I learned about, you know, I grew up in a very abusive home, so I didn't realize that all that trauma
is stuffed inside of you,
and get it out, inflicted it on my children, and you know, so that's when I went to that healing center. So that's where that all came to light, you know.
And you're like, oh, thank goodness you're doing that for your kids.
Yeah,
right. So
absolutely.
That you're not, and
I've learned that. Yes, unfortunately, we make mistakes as parents, and I learned that the shame is, the shame is when you're given the tools to change and you don't. That's where the shame comes in. Yeah. You know, we make mistakes as human beings, and we if we acknowledge it, the world doesn't fall apart when we say, I'm sorry, yes, you're right.
Isn't that an interesting thing? And I think I was in my 20s when I first was able to not lie my way out of a situation, because I grew up in a very, if you told the truth, you got a beating. If you didn't tell the truth, you got a beating. You got a beating. So you're always looking for ways to get out of, and lying was one of them. Like, and I remember I was in my 20s, where it's like, I was caught in a situation where I could tell the truth or I could lie, and I chose then to tell the truth, and it was an amazing feeling. It's like, oh my goodness, I don't have to lie anymore. And it was like, and it was hard to do it though.
Of course
it was, but then I realized it was easier to tell the truth than it was to think of a lie. And so it was, and I don't even know why that happened. I'm glad that it did.
Yeah, it's simple though. If you look at it, right? Like, I have social anxiety.
Really?
So, yeah, for long.
No.
Well, it's different
than one-on-one.
Yeah, but I can do this anytime. I can be up on stage. I can do any of that stuff. That's not my issue. My issue is, like, let's just say, oh, Nancy, something's happening going on at Corky's. Why don't you come? Unless I have somebody, I can go with other people. Then I'm fine. Okay.
Interesting. Okay. Good.
I forgot what I was saying.
No, because you had social anxiety, and was it because we were talking about healing?
Oh, but telling the truth. I used to lie about why I couldn't go to something.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, I'm sick or something like that, you know. So one day I thought, wait a minute,
I'm not going to.
Because to me it was shameful almost to have social anxiety.
It's not interesting.
Then I decided that at some point it's okay to have what I have. I don't have to not have it. Yeah. And I don't have to not have it.
And and really, who has killed you?
Yeah,
nobody has killed you. That's what I think was like. So if I tell the truth, are they going to kill me? Because really, that's the worst that can happen. Yeah. Are they going to kill me? And I think that's sort of like, are they going to kill me?
No, exactly.
And then I found people respond way better, especially because I work in the pub industry. I make a lot of mistakes. There's a lot of opportunity in the industry to blame somebody else. Like, oh, the kitchen didn't do that right, or the bartender didn't do that right, or the owner, blah, blah, blah. And I don't. If it's like I just the other day, I forgot to ring in these young girls that came in, and I got busy. I was alone. I forgot to ring in their poutine. And I'm like, why is that poutine taking so long? And then I go back and I'm like, forgot to ring it in. Oh my goodness. So I went up to them, and I could have just said, you know, I could have lied, but I just went up to them. I'm so sorry. I forgot. They were, oh, it's okay. We all make mistakes.
Nice.
They were so gracious. But this is what I find, that I don't know that there's ever been when I have made myself vulnerable by telling the truth, that somebody has returned that negatively.
Negatively, yeah.
I don't think I can recall one time where people were just like,
yeah, right.
you know, when I just went, no, I screwed up. I mean, sometimes you can get, but never, ever, because, you know, and so I'm like, wow, it's kind of interesting, we as human beings, how we want to run and hide the things we do wrong instead of be okay with.
We were allowed to make mistakes, right?
Yeah, we're allowed to make mistakes. We're humans.
Yeah, for sure.
All humans make mistakes. It just took, it's like, and you're, as you say, that you started coming into your own in your 50s and started, you know, sort of at that stage. I think also for me, it was like my 40s, the same thing. It's like, no, it's okay not to worry about what other people think.
Totally.
Yeah.
Although I still worry what other people think for some things, yeah, you know.
I don't, maybe it's just inherent in us.
Yeah.
Right. Because like even the book, I want good reviews. So I just obviously I care about what people think. Yeah. So,
yeah. But that's, I think that in a way though, that's a little bit different because that's kind of like your baby, you know, right?
Yeah.
Just your child that you developed it and you put all your soul.
True. Actually, when you say that, that is really true. That is completely true. And if that be the same when people are giving a negative review, it would be the same as them, you know, saying bad things about your own children, like that would be devastating. Yeah. Oh well. But yeah, you're right. It actually even took 9 months to write. So
oh, there you go. Oh my God. Anyway, this has been so much fun. It really has been fun. For sure. I hope you've enjoyed it. This is really good. And again, I just want to remind you, this is Glenda Toews, and her book is Spinning on a Barstool, and you can find it anywhere and everywhere.
It really is. You can go, it's at the Bookman, it's at the Owl and Cat Bookery, it's at Corky's Pub. You can go into Indigo Chapters, you can request it from them, they will get it in for you. It's on Amazon. You can just find it sort of wherever you would purchase your books. That's where you can get them.
Right. Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. And thanks very much for watching the show. I hope you continue to do so. In the meantime, take care and peace out. That was so much fun. Yeah.
A sense of community, Chilliwack's a place to be. A sense of community where you're free. Rolling through the mountains, rolling through the valley, rolling through paradise with me. It's multicultural, you're sure to see it all. Chilliwack's the place to be, you'll see. Come party in the park, go dancing after dark. Chilliwack's the place to be, you'll see.